start this conversation,
Oh, no.
is I made the statement that it's the volume, consistency, and the seriousness of these allegations that makes me believe the victims. Now, you obviously think they're all lying bitches, which I think is reprehensible. And I guess we'll have to leave it at that. I mean, it's really difficult to have a good faith conversation with someone that would make a blatant statement like that all women are lying bitches that have ever accused Donald Trump of any improprieties, sexual abuse. I think
even if it's for the purpose of an internal critique to demonstrate that no matter what I say, right?
Finance the old way. Finance the ramp way.
You were up and moving before anyone else was up and moving. At R.W. Knudsen, we crush only the very best ingredients, so you can crush everything you do.
Right? You'll always say, this is incorrect, you believe them, this and that for political expediency, even if you're not familiar with any cases whatsoever. So even if the purpose is, even if the purpose is to draw out, your position makes no fucking sense, I'm still wrong, right? What are you talking about? You don't even understand what happened. You know what's so funny?
You made the case.
They don't even understand what I just did because you don't know what an internal critique is.
Oh no, I do, and there you go again by, you know.
No, you actually don't. You don't know what an internal critique is.
So again, you just made the case, right, Andrew? You're just so much smarter than everybody else. You just made the case.
No, that's the thing, man. It's like I'm fucking dumb, and that should tell you a lot about the world.
No, I don't think you're dumb, but I think you say, I don't think you're dumb, but I do think you say a lot of dumb things, and you make assumptions. For example, when you claim that I don't care about, and I'd like to give you the opportunity now to retract something because it's really awful what you said. Okay, I don't care if you call me names. I don't care what your Crucible fans about me. I don't care. But you make the case that I don't care about any of these women that have come forward that have accused Trump of rape, because right now I can't name their names and I don't know all the specifics in the case. Are you willing to retract that statement now, because it's quite offensive when you make it, because it's not true. I care about any woman or man.
I'll give you hang on. I'll give you an olive branch, okay? The purpose of what I just did, the internal critique, is to demonstrate there's no grounds from which to ever make a criticism of me, regardless of what I say about any of this, because the opposition has no idea what they're even discussing, because they didn't read it, they don't know it, they don't understand it. To separate the two issues, do I think that Brian obviously cares if women get essayed? Of course I think he does. Of course I think you do, Brian. Do I also think, though, that you'll utilize this for the purpose of political expediency, even though you have no familiarization with the source content?
So here's why you're wrong.
Hang on, Brian, let me finish. I'm trying to delineate to give you the olive branch. Do I think that you will utilize that for the purposes of political expediency? Yes, and I just demonstrated it, which is why we have so little evidence of the Trump essays kids. We have so little evidence of, these women, they're all totally credible.
Andrew, let me respond.
You don't know anything
I'm
about
going to prove to you right now that I am very consistent when it comes to my opinions with high-profile people, even when it's political, and even when you might think that it's not politically convenient for me. I have been saying now for over 20 years, even before I got into radio, and I've maintained this position now, that Bill Clinton did some horrible sexual things to women. I do believe he did some terrible things. And I do believe that is the one thing that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump...
What terrible things?
Hold on. I do believe that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump have done sexual things to women against their will at one point in their life. I do believe that. And that's why I would never vote for Bill Clinton. It's part of the reason why I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. This is not political for me. Do I dislike Donald Trump? Not because Donald Trump is a Republican. I think he's a really bad guy and he's done some horrible things. Do I think Bill Clinton is a bad guy? Yeah.
I'm not disputing that I think that you believe that Trump's done horrible things. I agree that you believe that, Brian. What I don't understand is how you could be so willing to call somebody a PDF with such an underwhelming amount of evidence, which is almost none. Hang on, it really is almost none. And by the way, Brian, I want to point this out, and then morally grandstand that the evidence you are trying to source, which is a pattern of behavior, you don't know anything about. That is why I'm like, dude, this makes zero sense to me, and it makes zero sense to the observer, because how can it be the case morally grandstand. On the one hand, you care so much, you don't know the details of it. On the other hand, he's the thing, have no evidence for it, and then tell me that I'm being somehow evil because I require a standard of evidence for the claims that you make.
No. So first of all, I don't think I used the term evil, but I think some of the things you've said are reprehensible. As I've said before, and I'll say
What
again.
things have I said that are reprehensible?
Well, I mean, that's kind of retracted, but I thought, when you say that all the women are lying bitches, all of them, any woman that's ever made a claim.
You have no standard from which to criticize that claim. None.
Well, you have no standard by which to say that they're all lying bitches. You don't know whether they're telling the truth.
Yeah, but that's
don't know.
Brian, you're making again my point for me. I think I'm a reasonable, rational human being, and I require evidence and I want stance reasons which are evidence backed, or I make claims. The
So
first,
can I ask you
hang
something?
on.
What the hell that mean?
Hang on, the first engagement that we had, right? You
I've been like cleaning all day and organizing shit. Now I know where everything is in my apartment.
were trying to use evidentiary reasoning in order to say this is unjustified. That is a position I can wrap my head around. But the second we move over to this guy who you're politically opposed to, those very same evidentiary standards you would cite in the first debate, you'd abandon in the second. And that's why it's like, I don't think that's consistent. I don't think that's intellectually honest. And I think you're bullshitting me a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about intellectual honesty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
They're talking about, I guess they're arguing if Trump is a sexual something or not. And then, yeah, he was saying that all the people who accused Trump were lying bitches, and he didn't have enough evidence for it. Pretty interesting debate. I remember Goosebumps, not sure kids these days now. Yeah, kids don't know nothing about Goosebumps. And they tried to bring back Goosebumps recently, but it was pretty terrible. They ruined it. They ruined Goosebumps.
I want to know if you're consistent. Because you said you require evidence.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence that was presented to claim that Donald Trump won the 2020 election? Was that
What is that? Dude, this has nothing to do with anything.
I'm happy though. I got a new Bluetooth speaker today, and it's like hella nice speaker. And I gotta go and get some. I got another delivery to pick up in a little bit. Yeah, they the new Goosebumps was terrible. But, you know, I guess the franchise isn't dead, you know. They could always revive it at some point and make it true to the original.
Why ask me about
Yeah, remakes always ruin it for whatever reason.
Things which are relational
Why
to the
won't you
thing
answer
we're
my
debating.
question? Yeah, no, here's why I'm asking.
Because it's a red herring. It's a
Here's why-
fallacy.
no,
It's a
it's
red
not.
herring.
Because you're a hypocrite. That's why. So when it comes to women, let me explain why.
My cat's over there on her cat tree right now. So she can stare out the window, and I put all her toys up there with her.
Explain why. Let me explain why. Let me
Alright.
explain why. If you just give me a moment.
Yeah.
When a woman comes forward, any woman by your standards, that has ever claimed that Donald Trump sexually abused him,
It's been a pretty productive day. After I grab my packages, then I'll need to get some groceries too. But I guess I could do that later. Get groceries later in the day.
you have to have immediate evidence, otherwise you don't believe them, right? But Donald
Yeah,
Trump has.
I know,
to
it's
this,
terrible.
Hold on. Did Donald Trump have any credible evidence that the election was stolen and rigged, and that Joe Biden cheated and the Democrats cheated?
Even if
Has
I
that ever been proven?
yeah, but even if I concede this point, that does nothing for you.
Just
Do you
answer the
understand that?
question.
Like it
I don't
doesn't
care
do
whether you
anything
think
for
it does
you.
something for me or not. Answer the question.
It's a red herring. We're not getting into
Why
it.
won't you
Just-
answer?
Because you're trying to divert away from the
Was
topic.
there, so when it comes to women that accuse Trump of rape,
Yes,
give me
I
that
require
evidence.
evidence. Hang
but
on,
when
hang
it
on.
comes to
My
Donald
claim
Trump,
is this. My claim is this. When it comes to women who accuse Donald Trump of rape, I want evidence. That's the thing. Do you have
Has it
something?
happened?
Do you have something you want to say
So,
about
there are-
the fucking claim or not, Brian?
So would you agree that there are women in society, some that have been raped 20 years, 30 years, 40 years ago, and they'll make the claim 40 years later that, yes, they were the victim of sexual abuse.
I do think.
And hold on,
Okay,
let
go
me just
ahead.
finish my
Okay,
question.
sure. Go ahead. That's fair.
Because I think this is an important distinction. Would you agree that some women in society, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, they say that at one point, maybe when they were a child, maybe when they were in high school, that they were the victim of sexual abuse,
Mhm.
and they don't have any direct evidence to prove it? Are they all lying by your standard?
Of course not.
Okay, so it is possible that you might not have evidence, but it still could have happened. Is that fair, Andrew?
Of course.
Okay.
But is it also
we've
fair?
come to-
Is it also
we've
fair
come-
if I say, she said that this happened, but she has no evidence, and until I see some evidence, I'm not going to believe it? Is that also fair?
I don't think it's fair to call them a lying bitch.
Why? Oh, okay. That's not the question I asked
Question.
you. The question that I asked you was, if I say she made this claim, I agree she made the claim, but I've seen no evidence for it, and until I see evidence for it, I don't believe it. Is that fair?
Not always, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, why?
Maybe in some cases, but not always. Because as we've just established in the first question that I asked you, there are times where women won't have direct evidence. They might not even remember the day. They might not remember the week. They might not even remember because they want it in their mind to erase it from their memory because it's a traumatic experience. Someone
Not disputing any of this. I'm not disputing
Okay,
any
so
of this.
Andrew,
I'm only asking you.
So Andrew, here's why
Why
here's
would
the
it-
difference.
Okay.
Andrew, here's the fundamental disagreement that we disagree on here. I tend to, even if they don't have direct evidence, I tend to believe someone when they claim that they're a victim. It could be rape, it could be, robbery. I tend to, for the most part, agree with someone that claims that they were a victim.
Okay.
And I don't characterize all of them as lying bitches.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in the Christian God?
I'm not a very religious person.
So no, right?
Yeah.
I believe in a higher power, but I
So
am
no.
not a religious person.
Okay,
I
so
let
you
the-
don't.
Me and Terry go way back. Good guy.
That you
You,
dictate
do you
my life.
believe? So you don't believe in the Christian God, right?
I don't think about religion like ever.
Dude, I just answered your questions in good faith. Yes,
Do
no.
I believe there's a God? Yeah, I don't know what
Not the
God is.
Christian God,
Or-
though, right?
I don't even know what that means. I believe in a higher power. I don't know what the higher power is.
Okay,
You don't know
got
if
it.
God is a man.
Got it. Okay. There's
And I don't want to get into a religious conversation.
we're not having a religious conversation.
All right.
I'm just trying to parse out your logic.
Okay, fine.
Do you believe that the Christian God is God?
Like I said, Andrew,
Right?
I do. Nobody knows
Okay.
what God
So
is. Nobody knows.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions and billions of people tell you that they had divine revelation where they saw the Christian God and the Christian God spoke to them, right? Are you going to require evidence before you believe in the Christian God?
I would say that they're absolute lunatics and they believe in the tooth fairy.
So
You
you
can believe
agree?
in the tooth fairy.
So
You can
hang
believe
on.
in the tooth
Do you
fairy if
believe-
you like.
So you can't discount that the Christian God is real by your own admission. But at the same time, even though you can't discount it's real, billions of people having a similar experience and telling you about the experience,
So
you're going
billions
to
of people saw
you're
God.
going to require evidence before
You're
you
trying to-
confirm.
are you
Hang on,
really trying to
before
compare
hang on,
God
stop,
with
stop. Before you confirm that that God is true, right? Is that correct?
Are you
And
really
hang
trying
on,
to make-
before you bullshit me, just answer this.
I'm not trying to
just
bull-
answer this.
See, Andrew, I'm not
yes or
trying to
no, hang on,
bullshit
yes or
anybody.
no. You
You're
said
talking
that they're
about
all
God and
crazy.
rape.
You said they're all crazy. So you want evidence, right? You want evidence that Christian God is real, regardless of how many people claim that they have met him, right? You want evidence,
I
right?
just wanna understand your question. trying to compare God to
No,
rape.
just answer the fucking question, dude.
This is
Is it?
insane.
I'm not comparing anything. I'm doing a critique on the logic. You agree with me? Billions of people believe that they've had divine revelation. Do you agree with that?
No.
You don't think that they believe that?
You can believe in the tooth fairy if you'd like. You
Yeah,
can
I
believe
know.
in
I'm
the
asking.
flat.
Listen to what I'm asking you. Not asking you if it's true or you believe it's true. I'm asking you
Why are you
if
playing the
they.
God card?
I'm asking you if they believe it. Do
Why
billions?
are we
Dude,
talking
bro,
about
just answer the
God?
question. Do billions of people believe?
Yeah.
Believe that they've had divine revelation.
Good.
Believe.
Pretty good. Just trying to be productive today. How about you, man?
So I find somebody more credible. A woman comes forward and claims
Just answer
that
the question,
she's
bro.
raped.
Do billions of people?
No, I don't think anybody
believe-
can talk to God. No, I don't believe them.
No, I'm not asking if it's true. I'm asking if they believe it.
I mean, there's people that believe in the tooth fairy.
Yeah, I know.
There's crazy people everywhere.
Do at least 100 million people believe that they've had
I
divine
don't know.
revelation?
I don't know. I mean, there's
Do
people that
10?
believe the earth is
Do
flat.
at least
I
10
don't know.
people? You don't know if 10
There's-
people believe they've had divine
I don't-
revelation?
I don't really get
What
along
about
with
one?
extremely religious people. So I
Okay,
don't know.
hang on. There's one person you're talking to. I've had divine revelation.
Okay,
Do you
well, that's
believe
great.
that I believe that?
I mean, I don't know you personally. I don't know if you.
That I
believe that.
believe it. I'm
You
not
talk
saying
to
it's
God, that
true.
God
I'm not
talks to you?
saying it's true. I'm asking if you
Yeah.
think I believe that it's true.
There are people that believe a lot of different things.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking if you
I guess so.
believe- okay,
I
great.
guess so.
Do you
I
want
guess so.
evidence? Do you want evidence?
Evidence that what, God exists? You want
No,
to
that
get
the
into a religious
Christian God
conversation?
exists.
Evidence that you want to get into a, so we're
No,
talking
I'm
about
asking
rape.
if it's the case, would you just believe that I've had divine revelation?
I think-
Or do you want evidence.
I think, so what would you say if I said I
Again,
believe?
Brian, do you want?
I'm answering
if
you.
if I say
I think they're
I've
all
had
lying
divine-
bitches. If I said that I think they're all
Exactly.
lying bitches, what would you think about that, Andrew?
I
You find that
think-
offensive,
I
right?
think that if it's the
I think
case
they're all lying
that
bitches.
you have decided that because it's logically possible that a woman could have been SA'd many, many years ago and then bring the allegations forward later, I'm willing
If
to
you believe in
concede.
divine
Hang on,
intervention,
I'm
I
willing
think
to
you're a lying
concede.
bitch.
I'm willing to concede the point. But if it's the case that you're saying that you should believe it anyway, even absent evidence, and you did
Andrew,
say
I
that.
gave you my
Hang on,
opinion.
hang
I
on.
think you're-
And then you did say you should believe them anyway, absent evidence. You wouldn't take that standard with religiosity and don't, which makes you the fucking hypocrite, sir.
I'm not a hypocrite. I know what you're trying to do.
Pure
but it's not working.
hypocrisy, son.
No, it's not hypocrisy at all. There is a fine line difference between somebody who thinks that they talk to a being person that doesn't no evidence that they exist, than for someone who makes a claim that they were
Wait, no
sexually
evidence
abused.
that they exist, but
If
evidence
you-
that this person was SA'd.
If you believe that God talks to you, Andrew,
Wait a second.
anybody that if I said that you're all lying
It's the
bitches,
same-
you'd probably find
Yeah,
that
it's the same.
offensive, right?
Do you realize that that's the same?
Appreciate
Do you realize we're talking about the same burden of evidence?
Do you
A person
realize we're
who,
not?
yes, we are.
Do you realize
If a
we're not?
woman,
What's Sansa Stark? Is that a person or something?
yeah, we are. If a woman comes to you and says, I was
Sansa
SA'd
Stark.
when 40 years ago, but I have no evidence to demonstrate that that's the case. And a person comes to you and says, I've talked to God, I talked to him 40 years ago, but I have no evidence that that's the case. Why should I believe one but not believe the other?
Yeah, let's dissect that a little bit. So what Andrew is doing is
I'd smash.
he's trying to compare somebody who says they talk to God to
Okay, it's just a laxative.
Relax. It's Miralax. It works with the water in your body for gentle relief.
He's here. I apologize for my little magic.
to a woman who claims that she was the victim
Can you
of
answer,
sexual
can you answer my
assault.
question?
So for all of the Crucible fans out there that are listening to
Yeah,
this,
can you answer my question?
how
Out the moral
ridiculous
grandstanding
this
and answer the
analogy
question.
is.
Can you answer
so
the question?
ridiculous.
Why should I require evidence for one,
Okay.
Well, here's the difference.
even though it's based
Because
on the
one is-
same thing,
hey,
which is
hey,
eyewitness
hey, buddy.
testimony?
Hey, buddy, because one of them is a fucking crime. That's why. One of
What
them
does that
is
have to do
a
with
fucking
anything?
crime.
What
I'm
the fuck
telling
does
you,
that have to do with anything?
one of them is faith and belief, and the other one is a fucking crime. Can you not distinguish the two? Are you so stupid?
I'm
You can't
super.
distinguish the two?
So as long as I
Rape
say
is a
one,
crime.
so as long as I
Believing
say
in
what's
something
the
and
crime?
having faith isn't a crime, dummy.
yeah,
See?
but
Right.
why does that have any merit on anything?
Because you're trying to compare rape to
No, I'm
believing
just
in
trying
God.
to compare why it would be that I need to take them on blind faith, but you won't take me on blind faith.
Andrew, let me
Can
try
you
to
explain
be
it?
calm and explain, okay?
I'm the
When someone
mouthpiece of
says,
the Almighty
Andrew, just
God,
stop,
right?
just shut up for a minute,
How
Andrew.
long?
Just give me 30 seconds and shut up, okay? When you say that you have a faith, right? When you believe in God or you're talking to God, it's a faith that you have. It's a belief system you have. It's faith. It's what we call faith.
It's also an
Okay?
experience. It can
It's
be an
also
experience.
not. It's also not a crime. Now, what I say is,
What?
there's nothing. What I say is, there's nothing wrong with having faith. You can believe in what you want. Claiming that you have a discussion with God or having faith is very different than making a claim that you are the victim of a crime. How the fuck do you not understand the difference?
I'll explain it
You're making
really.
yourself looking ridiculous.
I'll use real small words for me, not for you. I know that you're super smart and I'm dumb, but I'm going to use real small words for me and the
You
audience.
said something we both agree
Yeah, I
on.
know I'm an idiot, but it's like this. You see, if a person believes that they have had revelation, that's an experience. And if a person believes that they've been SA'd, that's an experience. What you're doing is you're asking me to take on faith, both, when you'll only take on faith one. Even
you
though
just say
both,
rape
hang on,
isn't it?
even though both, yeah, rape's an experience. Yes, that's an experience a woman
Comparing
has.
an experience to a crime to having
No,
a discussion with
I'm
God.
comparing an experience to an experience. The only way that you can determine that you
Can
were
I ask you a
SA
serious question?
is if it
Don't
was the
take
case.
offense.
This is a
Don't-
serious.
don't
This is
take
a
offense.
serious logical
Don't take offense to
deduction.
this.
And no one's
Don't
going to
take
take
offense to this,
offense. No one's
Andrew.
going to take offense. You're going to go after the family
I'm
now,
trying to be
Brian?
respectful.
You're moving
Have I
into
not been
the-
respectful?
Are we moving into the family attack now? Go ahead, Brian.
No, it's about you. It's a question about you. Have I attacked your family, Andrew? Have I done that?
Many times.
Tonight, have I done that?
Not yet. That's true.
Okay, so stop
Credit where
saying
credit's
that.
due.
So stop. So, and I don't mean disrespect by asking you this, but this is a really weird analogy. Have you been drinking tonight?
Literally 5 seconds ago. I have a
Okay.
mixed drink 5 seconds
Okay,
ago.
fine. Okay, fine. So, listen.
How would
When
that help you
believe
though?
in God, when
You not
believe
being
in
able
a
to
higher-
understand logic with me drinking coffee or whiskey
Okay,
has no
there
bearing
is
on
no
anything.
logic, in my personal opinion, comparing faith and alleging to have a discussion with God, which, by the way, if that's how you feel, then you have the right to believe it, but it's not a crime.
That's not the argument.
It's not against the law.
No, that's
When
not
you
the
claim
argument.
that you were the victim
Oh,
of sexual
God.
assault, you're saying that you were the victim of a fucking crime.
Do you
not
agree with me?
understand the
Do you
difference?
agree with me that a woman would have no way to report that she was SA'd if it was the case that she never experienced being SA'd? She wouldn't go
No.
report, and of course she had to experience
There
it, right?
There are women, yeah, of course. There
Of
are
course.
women, yeah.
So the thing is that if a person says they have divine revelation, they're also experiencing a phenomenon.
By the
From
way,
their
I
perspective,
apologize.
hang on.
Somebody in your chat, I apologize. Rachel brought you a drink, and I shouldn't have. That was like 20 minutes ago. But go ahead. It wasn't 5 minutes ago. It was like 25 minutes ago. But go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
Do you
If you're-
think I got drunk off a shot, Brian?
It
Anyway,
seems to me.
The thing is,
in the last 25
Brian,
minutes-
experience. We're talking about experience. You agree with me? A religious person is having an experience also. Why is it, Brian? Please answer my question. That you require evidence for one experience that has no evidence, but don't require evidence for another experience that has no evidence.
Okay, so first of all, if somebody is claiming that they spoke to God, there is no evidence ever that they can prove that they
There
spoke.
wouldn't be any evidence that a woman who was SA'd and couldn't
are-
provide evidence
there
would
are-
have either,
hold on.
Brian.
Hold on. There are many women
Uh-huh.
that in some scenarios can provide circumstantial evidence. They can provide witnesses like E. Jean Carroll, for
I
example.
agree.
There were witnesses, hold on, because you said you don't believe E. Jean Carroll. In fact, you characterized
Yeah,
her
that
as
has
a
nothing to do
woman.
with what I'm asking you.
Well,
What I'm asking you
we're talking
specifically is
about-
a woman can't prove, has no evidence for. Guy says he has revelation, or woman says has revelation, can't prove, has no evidence for. Why am I supposed to believe the one,
Sure.
but I'm not supposed to believe the other?
Sure.
Why?
Just finish your shot and I will explain.
Okay.
So, first of all, it's important to note that one is a crime and one is not. We've established that. Second of all, there is literally no direct evidence that Bigfoot exists. There is no direct evidence that you could actually have a conversation with a god and a god is talking back to you, unless your mind is playing games with you. Now,
There
you
would
can
be
see
no
signs.
evidence in this case of an SA from him.
So you're talking about a woman, what? Give me a scenario, who makes a claim 34 years down the road.
Yeah, and has
that she was the victim
zero,
of sexual-
she has zero evidence for it. Zero. She
So
accepts,
one
I
comes
experienced,
forward-
hang on, she says, I experienced this.
Sure.
That's all, but I have
Yep.
no evidence that I can give you to corroborate it. Guy
Sure.
comes down from a mountain, says, hey, I
Yep.
experienced revelation, but I have no evidence at all I can give
Here's
you.
my response to
Why,
that.
hang on, why do I believe one and not the other
Yeah,
again?
here's my response to that, because
Okay.
I personally believe, and I guess this is where we fundamentally disagree,
Uh-huh.
that when someone comes forward and brings up a claim of what I think is one of the worst crimes anybody could commit, which is rape, sexual abuse, I tend to believe someone, and the majority of people, that they were at one point in their life a victim of this crime. And I say to myself, why would you be saying this, if it wasn't true? In some cases, there
Why
are
was a
some-
religious person?
Well, I believe that they probably believe that they spoke to God, but there's a
So
difference
why do you
between-
not believe them, but you'll always believe the woman with no
Well,
evidence?
obviously, okay, so first of all, I believe that there are religious people out there that believe all sorts of different things. Okay, they have the right to believe that. Maybe they do believe it, but
Uh-huh.
there's a difference between having a faith and believing in a faith system, and somebody coming forward saying, "Yeah, when I was a young girl, this happened to me, and it was horrible."
They're both based on, I had this
My
experience,
initial,
and I
Andrew,
have
my
no
initial,
evidence.
Andrew,
So what's the threshold
this has
break?
happened to me a couple times in my life where I've talked to women who said, yeah, this happened to me 30 or 40 years ago. And my initial reaction isn't, well, you know what? I really don't believe you because you don't have any
Yeah,
evidence.
but you're not
lying
giving me the
bitch.
threshold breaker. Why do you believe the one and not the other? It makes no sense. Why do you demand the standard of
First
evidence
of all,
from one, but demand no
I-
standard of evidence from the other?
Because believing in a ghost, which is really what we're talking about here, where is God? What is God? Is God a
Where's
man
the
or a
essay? Where's the essay? Where's
Right.
the evidence?
So-
Where is it?
so-
It's the
so
same shit.
there are-
It's reduced to the same
We are
thing.
talking about, so the two differences here is, we are talking about a crime that was
So what?
allegedly committed.
Why would that matter when
And-
it comes to believing a person
Andrew,
based on
here's
evidence?
the thing, right? If somebody comes up to me and they say, hey, I talked to God,
Mhm.
my initial reaction to them
Okay,
is,
you know what,
well,
Brian? We'll
you're-
make it easy.
you're
It's
a
past the
fucking
statute
liar.
of limitations, so now there's no crime.
so now we're talking about the statute of
Yeah,
limitations.
so it's past the statute of limitations, so there's no crime. Now one's not a crime and the other one's not a crime. Why do you believe one
Yeah.
and you don't believe the other?
The act of rape is certainly a crime, just because somebody doesn't report it within a certain time frame.
Well,
Bill
hang on.
Cosby, there was
It's not a
exception.
crime. Hang on. It's not a crime anymore. It's past the statute of limitations, so there can't be
The
any
act of-
criminal, nothing.
And
There's
so
no
we can get
crime.
into a word debate. The act of sexual abuse and rape is a crime, and I'm
When it
not
happened, when it happened,
We're not gonna
but
get
it's
into
not a
the weeds
crime.
with you
It
on the
wouldn't be a
statute.
crime if
I'm
it's
not
past
going
the
to get into
statute
the
of
weeds with you on the
limitations, right?
statute of limitations. I'm not going
Yeah,
to get into that
so I'm just
conversation.
asking, Brian, now it's not a crime, now there's
Andrew,
no crime,
Andrew,
now there can't be a
Andrew.
crime.
Andrew, this is a fundamental difference between people like you and people like me.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give you two different scenarios of which you're
Oh,
talking
I can't-
about.
I can't wait.
Okay? If a person comes up to me that's religious and he says, hey, I talked to God and all this other stuff, even though I might not want to get into that conversation with them, I'm not going to talk down to them, and I'm not going to say, I don't believe the evidence. Now, on the contrary,
Yes, you will.
also, hold on. No, I've never done that in my life. And
If
then
somebody told you the Christian God is real, you will stand evidence?
I would say the first thing I said to you, what was the first thing I said to you when you brought up religion? Do you remember in this conversation?
You
Perfect
said that,
example.
I think that those people are crazy and believe in sky
No,
carriers.
no, that's not the first thing I said. What's the first thing I said to you?
What's the first thing?
I said, I'm not a very religious person, so I'd rather not have that conversation.
Yeah, but I'm not having
You
a
obviously-
religious
you
conversation. I'm
obviously
using
didn't
an
respect that.
analogy.
Hold on, you finish. You didn't let me finish. So I would not talk down to that person. If I met a total stranger and I talked to God, I wouldn't say, hey, show me proof. I wouldn't attack them for it. They have the right to believe in what they want to believe in, right? And it's not a crime. If a woman comes up to me and says that I know and says, or even that I don't, and say, yeah, this horrible stuff happened to me when I was a child, blah, 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 blah. My initial reaction would never be, you're a lying bitch, or I don't
wait,
think you
wait,
show
wait.
me the evidence.
Why is
You know what I would
well,
do?
hang on.
You know what I would
Why?
do?
But here's the thing. That
You know what I
comes
would
down
do,
to the
Andrew?
fundamental
Andrew,
question.
Andrew,
I don't know. Give her a hug. Give her a
Andrew,
hug and
this
a
is
good
about-
pat on the rear and say,
No,
hey,
not, well, I know you don't think it's a big deal, but Andrew, the first thing that I would do is I would listen to her, and I would believe her, and I would.
why wouldn't you
feel
do that with a
sorry.
religious person?
What did I just say? I just said that I'm not a religious person,
Yeah, so
but I
what?
wouldn't be disrespectful.
That has no bearing
Okay,
on the
that's good for
conversation.
you.
Why wouldn't you
I'm
just
glad-
believe the? Why
Because
wouldn't you
here's
just
the difference.
believe the religious
Because here's the
person?
difference.
Why?
Because here's the difference. When people talk about a conversation they had with God,
Yeah.
usually they're happy about it. Usually it's a very spiritual and a pleasant experience. I think most people.
Oh
that say
no,
they
there's
had-
tons of people that have defined
All right,
revelation who are
okay,
miserable
okay,
about
fine.
it.
Most people that say they had a conversation with God that have come to me
Mhm.
have said it's a very pleasant, it's a pleasant experience, and it brought me to this or that in my life. Okay, every single person that has come up to me that has ever said they've been a victim of sexual abuse, it's a very horrible story. Two completely different
That has
scenarios.
nothing.
Can you
Yeah, so
not
what?
understand that?
No, I can't. I can't understand. Where is the threshold breaker? I had an experience there's no evidence for. I had
Well,
an experience
I'll
there's
say
no
this,
evidence. Hang on,
So-
hang on. You just asked me a question, let me answer. I have experience that I have no evidence for. I have experience I also have no evidence for. I believe
well,
you, I don't believe them. Based
Okay.
on fucking what?
Fair enough. Let's put this to the test. You ready? Here we go. Okay. So I had a conversation with God this morning. God told me in a conversation that
In here.
Donald
You
Trump
realize that this is
sexual-
about, you realize it's gonna
Donald
make my
Trump's a
point,
sexual.
right?
No. It was a great experience I had,
Mhm.
and God told me that Donald Trump is an orange orangutan, 34 count felon, liable sexual abuser. And
Mhm.
Brian, you are correct, and you have to stand by your beliefs, no matter
Mhm.
what that crucible guy says. Now it was a great experience that I had, Andrew, and I'm not a
You're
very
right,
rich
you're
person.
right, Brian. I would require evidence. I know.
It was a well, I mean,
I'm the guy who's consistent on this end.
God told me that Andrew's going to deflect and deny, and
How am I deflecting? I
he's
just
gonna
told
say
you,
you
I
have
want
Trump's
evidence.
arrangement
Hang
syndrome.
on, I want evidence of this experience, just like I
Yeah.
want evidence of the other thing. Yes, of course.
and so you think
And by the way,
Show me
that's a
evidence
Christian,
that there's
that's
a
a Christian
God.
standard too. You know, we
So
go out and
you think-
debunk
yeah, I
miracles
know.
all the
You
time
have-
for a reason.
I know, Andrew, you have amazing Christian
Told you
standards.
that
I
that was gonna
understand.
fucking
I
blow up
understand.
in your face. It was a
I
terrible
know.
example.
Well, hey, I had that conversation this morning,
Okay.
and that's what God told me to tell you, and I'm standing with my beliefs. My God tells me, my religion, my
Mhm.
God tells me
Yeah.
that Donald Trump probably did some horrible things to children.
Sure.
My God tells me
Mm-hmm.
that some of these ICE agents on the streets are committing murder.
Mm-hmm.
My God tells me that at this point, if you still defend Donald Trump every which way, there's something wrong with you.
And now,
My
Brian,
God tells me.
Brian, hang on.
When you have a lot of, hold on, when you have
Should I
multiple
believe? I just got one
when you're,
question.
my God, I know, you can answer, just one second,
Go
ask
ahead,
me
go
to
ahead.
say.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
God
go ahead.
tells me that when my wife hands me a bunch of shots,
Uh-huh.
my analogies get worse and worse.
A bunch of shots?
Andrew, I think you're a little drunk. How many shots have you had? 3 or 4? You
One.
told your wife to give you
I
another
had
shot.
one shot.
You told your wife, give me another shot. Don't lie, we have it
No.
on tape.
I literally have the same glass, dummy.
Did you not say, oh, so you can't have another drink in the same glass?
I've always had an interest for skydiving. I didn't have the means to make it happen. The personal loan through Mariner really gave me that jump start I needed. Mariner Finance, real customers, real dreams.
Sure, millions of people trust Vistaprint to print business cards they love.
Yep.
But did you know we also print their t-shirts? And postcards. And signs. And custom merch. That water bottle is engraved, or we print with lasers. At Vistaprint, we print your brand on banners so your customers can notice you, stickers so they can remember you, and everything else your business needs to keep them coming back to you. Right now, new customers get 20% off at Vistaprint.com, because if you need it, we print it.
I only had one shot.
So you didn't say, give me another shot? You didn't say that?
I don't know if I
Hey,
did,
hey,
but I
people
only
in the
had one.
crowd, people that are listening, even if you're fans
Ryan,
of Andrew,
that's great. Yeah, Andrew's drunk, whatever. My
Okay,
question is,
okay.
my question to you, Brian, is, should I believe what you just said to me, or should I ask for evidence?
What about my God?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Should I
Doesn't bother me.
believe you,
I'm not talking
or
about
should
crime.
I ask for evidence?
There is no evidence that anybody can say that we had a conversation.
So I should believe you?
I think there are people that believe they have discussions with God. It's impossible to.
Yeah, no,
provide
but
that.
should I
Impossible.
believe you, Brian, or should I ask you for evidence?
It's not a crime though, so I'm
Yeah,
trying
no,
to
but
understand the
Brian,
correlation.
should I believe you, or should I ask for evidence? Can you answer the question?
You can never provide evidence. The question is, should you ask me for evidence when I say I had a conversation with God? Why would you ask?
I'm asking you.
Why would you ask?
Should I believe you that everything you just said to me was true, that you had a conversation with God and this and that?
If
Or
you're an
should I,
atheist-
hang on, or should I ask for evidence? If you were me, for instance,
Such a
would
dumb
you
question.
believe,
Okay.
would you believe everything you just
Getting
said
worse
to
and
me?
worse.
Would you believe everything you just said to me, or would you ask me for evidence if you were in my shoes?
If you're an atheist, you would probably ask for evidence. If you're a religious person, then you probably would not. I think it depends on the person. Quite frankly,
Brian, right, you're in my shoes, let's say, and I just got done saying everything to you that God told me that actually Trump, I just did it in reverse. Trump isn't this and isn't that, and blah, 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 blah. Would you ask me for evidence, or would you believe me?
When you're talking about a crime?
No, Brian, I'll ask you again. So I do the same thing you did, except I just say, God told me Trump didn't do any of this. Would you just believe me, or would you ask for evidence?
When it comes to religion, again, we keep going back in circles. here.
Brian, I'm gonna ask you again, yes or no, would you believe me, or would you ask me for evidence?
Would you believe me, or would you ask me for
Yeah, if I
evidence?
said
when
God,
talking about
Trump didn't do any of this stuff, would you just believe me, or would you ask for evidence?
I always believe a victim, and I think that's the part of this
Yeah, I
conversation.
know, but
that you're
Brian, can
missing.
you answer my question? Would you believe me, or would you ask for evidence?
If you're saying that your God said that Trump never committed any crimes,
Yeah, would you believe
I
it?
would say you and your God doesn't know what he or she is talking about.
So you would believe me?
If you believe that you spoke to a God, I would respond to you by
No,
saying,
no. Do
your
you
God is
believe
an
that
asshole.
I did talk to
I think
God?
your God is a
did
magnet
tell me
cultist.
that.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, no,
I
but
would
would
say,
you believe I did talk to God and God did tell me those things? Or would you ask
sure,
for
Andrew, I would
evidence?
absolutely. You seem
You
like
would?
a believable guy. I would believe you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
so
see
you
any
just don't
reason why
want to
you'd
answer the
lie.
question. You won't answer the question.
Yeah,
So
I just said
funny.
I would believe you. Sure, I
You
would.
would?
believe you.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
sure.
then God told me that you lost this debate. You believe me, right?
Oh, okay. No, the reason why I wouldn't believe you is
What do you
because it's
mean
not
no?
true.
What do you mean
No,
no?
it's not.
You just said
God-
you're a contradiction machine.
God tells me that you are drunk and you're spurting out. That's what God just told me.
Bro, I think that your God and mine
Andrew, I
have
knew that was
completely different standards.
we finally agree. We finally come to a consensus. My God tells me to believe victims when they come forward, and my initial reaction isn't to provide evidence. I tend to comfort them and believe them.
So just so
God
we're
tells
clear,
me-
my last question, this is my last question. I would like you to actually answer in good faith, and I'll answer your next yes or
I've answered
no.
every question.
I'll answer your next
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
No, you don't. I just want
Yes, I
yes or
do.
no. I just
You're
want
not
yes or
in good faith.
I want an
Because
actual
God
yes.
is right.
I want an actual yes or no, just like I've been giving you
And then I'll
yes.
ask you a question.
I say yes, but I'll give you a yes or no, but I want your word, you're gonna give me a yes or no. If it was the case that, that I said, God told me that Trump did not commit any of these crimes,
Mhm.
and he's never committed any crime, and in fact, he's the most honest person ever, and you just got everything wrong.
Mhm.